changes this into a JSON, and it's not just one-to-one mappings. It was, some fields were one-to-one, some fields I had to do a quick static database search locally on how's that map and do that. So I was able to create that application. On top of that, the way I wrote it is if you modify mapping files and add another field into Excel spreadsheet, you don't have to change any single line of code. It would pick it up. From 0 to that in 2 days with Copilot. If I wanted to do it without Copilot, a month. From 0, a month, probably that. So, yeah. There are some numbers. This one is interesting. So what we've done, we actually released preview of Copilot, I think, over a year ago. And we did a research with those users who actually use Copilot. That was interesting. We knew that Copilot is faster. You can't compete with AI generating responses. We knew that it will be faster. We didn't expect 96%. We expected 50, 60, 96% felt that they're doing way faster with Copilot. Remember I said it's an extension into your IDE. So we support VS Code, the common ones are obviously Codespaces. Who heard about Codespaces? Now I'm disappointed. I spent, what, half an hour on Codespaces. So yeah, we support all major IDEs and working on support of more than that. This is the interesting part for the geeks here. The way it works under the hood. So what happens is, as you type code in your IDE, as soon as you pause this, that extension will go and analyze the code before and after your cursor. It will create a context about what you are trying to do. If it feels there are some variables or functions that mentioned, it will go into other parts of your code and see if there is something like that. Similar, you have somewhere else, or maybe in another tabs open. It will grab context from those places. It will generate what we call prompt, and it will just throw it into our model. But before it sends it to a model, there is a proxy sits in between. So the role of that proxy is like a policeman. First, it looks that actually incorrect. That doesn't exist really at the moment. What it does, it checks for abusive language. So who played here with ChatGPT? You know that if you construct a prompt in a tricky way, you can trick the model to give you an answer it was not supposed to give you. Like, for example, how do I commit a suicide? ChatGPT probably will say no, 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 no. But if you phrase it in a certain way, it may give you the result. So we are looking for that, for abuse of the tool, when you try to get something that the tool was not supposed to do. At some point, we were looking whether to do removing PII and secrets. I don't think we do it at the moment. So at the moment, really about that toxicity. Then we throw it into large language model. Who has here any knowledge of how large language models work? Wow, I'm scared to continue because I know very little. Tell me if I'm saying it wrong, raise your hand, but in a nutshell, the way what large language models are, in a nutshell, is a humongous probability machine, like huge probability machine. They are trained on, in our case, it's trained on all publicly available code. So it's actually a separate company called OpenAI, which creates the models and trains them. So OpenAI created this codex. They went to scrap all the public code and trained the model. When I say trained, it's just like example I gave yesterday is if I go to a library and read every book in Korean in that library, I will, just from the amount of books in that library and the amount of text, I will start getting the idea of how the grammar works in Korean. I know that it will be noun, then it will be a bunch of adjectives, and the verb at the end. That's how Korean grammar will work. Simply based on those books, I understand that. So when you ask me, can you please write a sentence about Top Gun? None of those books have any knowledge about Top Gun. But based on your request, I know that Top Gun should go first, then some description about Top Gun, and then the verb. I will come up with this sentence. So that's how models work. They grab the code from public libraries, and they learn about the grammar of each language. So a lot of people have this confusion that we will find the right piece of code, copy it, and give you the suggestion. No, that's not how it works. The model will analyze all the code, learn the grammar, and based on what it learns and your prompt, it will give you a brand new code every single time. So that's what it will do. It will take your prompt, based on the grammar it learned, it will generate new code and send it back to you. In between, we have the same proxy. What it will do, it will look at, is there any clear security vulnerability, SQL injection, or cross-site scripting, something that is very clear. If we see that, we drop that. We don't give you that suggestion. We do have a special filter here. If you turn it on, if we find that the suggestion actually matches some public code one-to-one, we will discard it as well. The reason that happens, we found that in about 1% of cases, the reason it happens is when the model goes out to public libraries and start learning about grammar of every language, sometimes with open source repositories, they get shared quite often. So particular line of code can appear a lot of times in different projects. So the model can get confused. It thinks that that's not the sentence, that's a grammar, full stop. So when it provides the answer, it just copies that because it thinks that's part of the grammar. That's why we have this detection set up. When we find that that happens, you have an option in your settings. Do you want to accept or decline? If you want to say, I block it, as soon as we detect it, we discard it. Companies who are very cautious about IP, they always set it to block because they don't want to get into trouble where a line of open source project gets into their code and then they get sued for that line. So they will block it. But for those who write their own projects public, they don't mind, go nuts. And literally overnight we shipped another feature. If you do not turn it on, if you don't block it, and we detect it, we actually will tell you which project it comes from. So you will know repositories, licenses associated with those repositories, so you will have a better information about whether you want to accept it or not. So that's in a proxy. Once we clean that up, we send suggestion to your IDE, and you decide whether you want to accept it or not. Let me show it to you. Let's see, do I have Visual Studio? Yeah. Let me open that. Now, so I have a few empty files here. Can you see that in the back? Can you see that? I'm typing? Okay, sweet. Okay, so again, I'm not a developer. Let's write something in Python. I haven't finished. It already knows what I'm doing. I hit tab, enter. I hit tab, enter. I hit tab, enter. Done. Without looking at Wikipedia, how to convert between Fahrenheit to Celsius, I've done it. Oh, wait. I haven't even thought about that one, right? Well, okay, fine, I'll do Celsius to Fahrenheit. But this time, what I'll do, I'll hit Control, return. It will generate up to 10 different suggestions. So if I don't want to accept line by line, and I want something different, I can say, give me more, give me more. The reason you get only 2 here is because I have no other information in this file. I don't have anything else open. There is no context about what I'm writing. It's brand new file, and there are only so many ways you can convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. There are only literally one way, and you can write it either, like the difference here you see is really where the parenthses are, right? So there is not much you can write differently. That's why you get only 2. If I open something more complicated with other files opened, it would give me bigger blocks and probably the whole 10 suggestions as well. So in this case, what I'll do, I'll just say, yep, accept this one. Boom, it says zoom on Fahrenheit to Kelvin. I don't want, but it can give me that. But this time I say accept user input for temperature to convert. Yep, that's what I want. And if it ends with C or C, convert to Fahrenheit. If it ends with convert to Celsius, yes. Otherwise, print an error message. That's exactly what I want. Let's see. Let's start. Let me see if I can get a block here. How long did it take me? Like seconds, right? With 0 Python knowledge, I can tell you it would take me an hour, if that. Especially, again, remember I said skill bridge and skill gap. When I was looking at when I first time did conversion thing, especially when it grabs the last character, I had no idea that's how you could do that. Like, I didn't know that the format you can grab the last character. If I want to create that, it would take me, I don't know how long. Google probably faster, but if I had a manual, it probably would take me a good half a day to find out how to grab the last character. It was within seconds, right? And from here, I think, it's a function, okay. Convert temp, no. Create a main function. Yep. Anything? Come on. Anybody knows Python here? So here's the problem. This is the first time when it created actually a function here. In my previous demos, it just writes code, so I can directly call that file and it will execute it. Now, because it's a separate function, I have to accept user input. I have to think about how to actually execute it. So I can spend more time doing it, but let's see if I can quickly come up with something. Accept user input and convert it. Convert temp. Yep, that's the one. By the way, you see this and this? It didn't create brand new calculations. Like, it didn't do minus 32 divided by 9 times 5. It knows that I already have those functions. So it understands that I already created something earlier or later in a file or in another files. So it understands that. Okay, let's see if it works. Python 3 example. UI. 100. Error. Right? I didn't provide C or F. 100F. 37. Yay. 100C. 212, right? Yeah, 212. Boom. Mic drop. So yeah, from very little Python knowledge, you can do that. A lot of people say what languages it supports, and the answer is every single language out there. Remember I said that thing, it goes and analyzes everything that is available to it. So every language you can find public code available in, it will support it. However, if it's Python or JavaScript, there are billions of repositories probably available in those languages, not billions, but quite a lot of repositories available in those languages versus COBOL, maybe. So what you will get is, just like with books, if I didn't read enough books, I probably don't learn much. So it didn't learn much about COBOL, about grammar and structure. So when you ask to create Python code or JavaScript code, the suggestions will be top-notch. But when you ask to create COBOL code, you probably will not get good quality of those suggestions because it didn't have as much data to learn from to generate COBOL code. But it will support any language, including COBOL, JavaScript, whatever is the code available publicly. So even English, apple pie, no, something more applicable. Pizza recipe. Buy pizza. That'll do. Eat pizza. Enjoy pizza. That'll do. AI, you never know. So here's another reason. A lot of people say, oh, AI, it will destroy developer jobs and everything. No, that's the reason why we call it Copilot. You still need somebody with a little bit of gray mass here to actually look at it and say, no, I'm not buying pizza. I need to make pizza. So scrape that and actually start typing what they're looking for. And Copilot will adjust. It will understand that, oh, that's not what you were looking for. Now, as you start typing, so let's see if it works. Get flour. You see? You see? So just like with development, when you start typing, like I created a comment, it gives me some rubbish. I can literally start define function equal name something. It will understand the context of what you are doing and start giving you, as you provide more context, it will start giving you better suggestions. But you need developer brain for that to understand it. You need somebody who to understand that's, like if I start typing in Python, I might grasp what it's given me, is that incorrect? If you're asking me to write something in JavaScript, I will have no idea. I will just hit tab and enter, and I can guarantee you at some point it will stop working. So you will need developer to do that. It's a Copilot, it's not a pilot. What else do we have? So there are two types of licenses for Copilot. One is for individuals, one for business. If you want to try Copilot, the best part is get this, put your credit card detail, cancel it within 30 days. If you